Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to do a little bit of notes. So grab your notebook and be ready to take down some important information. These are things that you should be aware of, things that you need to understand as we get into our next bits of reading. And they're just terms that are thrown around in the literary world that you need to be aware of what they mean and the implication of them. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, we have made this shift of time period, and we need to talk about what has happened in that time period. So when we were back in school together, we were in the 18th century, which means the 1700s. I think you're aware of how centuries and times work, but this always throws me for a loop. I always have to remember to go back. It's not the 1800s, it's the 1700s. So now we are shifting into the 19th century. Remember that 19th century would be the 1800s. So in the 1700s, we were establishing our country. And so a lot of the writing was about political stuff. This time period is called the Age of Reason. Okay? Everything was about, you could figure everything out. You could think it through, and you could come up with an answer, and you could figure things out. It was kind of a scientific time, but it was really the time of setting up our country. So the focuses of the Age of Reason were obviously reason, thinking, being able to figure things out. The focus was also on the general. Okay, they talked in general terms. They didn't get specific about things or people. And the focus was on society. So these are the writings that we had of, like, Benjamin Franklin and the things that we read, like Thomas Edison. And I can't even think right now to get you back to those days because that seems like forever ago. But the basic stuff of the Constitution, the Articles, Declaration of Independence, all that kind of stuff. Thomas Paine's pamphlets, all of those things about setting up the country and what our rights are. So moving into the 19th century and the 1800s, we're going to come into a time called Romanticism. And Romanticism is often misunderstood because you see the word romantic and you think, oh, love. And it's really not. It's not about love itself, but what it is about is emotion. So while over here it was how you thought about things, over here it's what people felt about things. Totally different mind frame. It was also, instead of being about the general, it was about the, what did I have marked, particular. Or maybe you want to say the specific. And instead of being about society and our rights and our government and all of that, the focus is on nature. So some other things that you want to understand about Romanticism is that it deals with the individual. The individual and their emotions. In this time period, authors, painters, sculptors, poets, musicians, anything in the arts, they were looking for new ways to express themselves. And all of this dealt with the unique, the individual, the specific. One of the lines I liked, and this is all from your textbook, so it's if you miss any of this information, you could go back and read, or you can just rewind and listen to me again. But one of the lines that I liked in there is that they focused more on intuition. Did I spell that right? Intuition instead of reason. So it's how you feel about something. You know, when you have intuition, I have a shadow here. Let's see if I turn this light off, if it'll help. Nope. When you have intuition about something, turn the light back on. It's just how you feel about it. You know, it's that gut feeling that you have. It's when you walk into a location, you're like, ooh, this doesn't feel right to me. This is creepy. I need to get out of here. It's just that feeling that you get, and maybe you can't explain it. That's the whole point. It's all about the feelings. It's all about the emotions, and it doesn't have to be explained. The cool thing about Romanticism, too, is that it just focuses on common people. And the common people, it focuses on their lives. And they're having a little trouble with my whiteboard here. Let me pull this up. Hold on. This is what we call technical difficulties when teaching from home. Common people, their lives, and their experiences. Okay? So, actually, I'm going to take this piece off. Just a minute. I need to erase my whiteboard. Done. Okay. So, who are some of the important writers here? Well, we've got one that we already read. Washington Irving. Okay, Washington Irving. He's the one that wrote Sleepy Hollow. He's the one that wrote the one about the guy who falls asleep, Rip Van Winkle, and wakes up 20 years later. So a common person, his experiences. And he wrote The Devil and Tom Walker, which you read and turned in last week. Most of you. So he's going to be our main short story writer of the early Romantic period. Then we've got an author, and his name is William Cullen Bryant. Okay. William Cullen Bryant, that's really crooked. I'm really sorry. He is a poet, and he started writing at a very young age. And his most famous poem is that. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I think it's Thanatopsis. I don't know. I can't seem to get it right this morning. But I don't like it. A lot of people really like it. I find it to be just too melancholy. It is in your book. If you want to go and read it, it is on page Thanatopsis is how you say it. It's on page 199, but it's all about his view on death. He draws conclusions about the meaning of nature. It's pretty deep. It's melancholy, so it's super sad. It's serious. And I'm just, especially right now, I'm just not into that. So I'm not going to make you read it. If you want to read it so that you've got that exposure to it, you're more than welcome to. It's on page 199. So the cool things about him, though, are that he saw the spiritual and the moral meaning in nature. Okay, that's his claim to fame. And the thing is these three poets that I'm giving you here, that one, not poets, these three authors, Washington Irving, William Cullen Bryant, and then the last one, they are three of the 4 authors that were considered fireside poets. And even though they weren't all poets, they were authors, and this is just what people called them, because these were the kinds of things that people read sitting around their fires in their family homes. And so that's what they did. Okay. Oh, actually, I just lied to you. These are not the fireside poets. Oh, I'm so sorry. Wrong page of notes. These are going to be our first 3 really, really important American authors of the Romantic time period. Okay, not fireside poets. First 3 authors, very important, Romantic time period. The 3rd author that I'm going to give you is James Fenimore Cooper. One in? Yeah. So James Fenimore Cooper, he's a novelist, which means he writes the really long stuff. He is the guy who he writes about the pioneer life, and westward expansion. Okay, pioneer life and westward expansion. So he writes about the Indians. He writes about people moving west in covered wagons, and he does it in a way that it's all about their experiences. And it's fun, and it's historically accurate, but it is fiction. So people enjoy this, especially if you're living in someplace like Massachusetts and you're not traveling to go out to the West. You like to read these stories about what it's like, okay? So his most famous one is The Last of the Mohicans. See if I can underline that, because it is a book title. Okay, The Last of the Mohicans. Pretty sure there's a movie of the same title. That's his most famous one. He had 5 of them that kind of went in this series. They were all about the same person as the basis, and then of course he took it and made up some stuff, but that's his most popular. So Age of Reason was before Ben Franklin, things like that. Romanticism, focusing on the individual, focusing on emotions, focusing on experiences, focusing on the common person. All right, for today, that's all. I'm not going to make you do any homework today. I just want you to be aware of these people: Washington Irving, William Cullen Bryant, and James Fenimore Cooper. One thing that I think is kind of interesting is that, hold on, let me make sure I find the right page of notes. Yes, James Fenimore Cooper. As I was looking up some information about him last night and just, getting things back in my brain again, it said, in Wikipedia even, it said that in Michigan, in Comstock, there is a park called Cooper Park, named after him, James Fenimore Cooper. So there is that tie-in to our local area. Is this why Cooper Township, if any of you live in that area, is that why it's named Cooper? I don't know. You could do some research and look into that. So for today, that's all. I just wanted you to take these notes. If you want to go back and read Thanatopsis, you may. It's on page 199. Not going to force you to. You need to send me today's keyword is going to be The Last of the Mohicans. Okay? Send me an email with this. Don't put it on this post on Google Classroom, because then everybody else sees it. Okay? Send me an email, dbrown@kcsa.org, and just say, keyword, The Last of the Mohicans. All right? Have a great day. I will talk to you on Thursday.